Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fans, get ready for a wild stretch of updates. The team just signed a veteran quarterback with ties to Kevin O'Connell, and we've got fresh comments from both Dan Campbell and Aiden Hutchinson about the Vikings. Plus, there's word of growing tension inside the locker room, reportedly leaked by a local source. And to top it off, the team is facing an unprecedented point gap heading into the matchup against the Lions, and it's become one of the hottest topics across national sports media. Why? Stick around, because the way this unfolds could completely shift the tone of the Vikings season. But before we dig into all of it, real quick, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps a ton, and it keeps this community of fans growing. Drop a like too, because it tells YouTube to show this video to even more Vikings fans around the world. And don't forget to leave a comment. This space belongs to everyone in the Vikings nation. Kevin O'Connell went back to his own playbook to solve a present problem. After Carson Wentz went down with a season-ending shoulder injury, Minnesota brought in veteran quarterback John Wolford, a 30-year-old who worked with O'Connell during their time with the Rams. It's one of those connections that shows how much trust O'Connell places in players who already understand his system. Wolford hasn't taken a regular season snap since 2022, but he knows O'Connell's complex offensive playbook inside out. He's bounced between the Rams, Buccaneers, and Jaguars in recent seasons, mostly on practice squads, and now he's back to help stabilize the Vikings' quarterback room. He's not here to play hero, but he might be the steady hand that saves the day if things spiral. To be honest, no one expects him to take the field unless disaster strikes. The plan is clear. J. McCarthy starts, undrafted rookie Max Brosmer backs him up, and Wolford becomes the sideline brain helping with defensive reads and play transitions. That might not sound flashy, but in an offense still trying to find rhythm after all the injuries and lineup changes, it could matter more than people think. O'Connell even told KFAN that JJ is finally healthy and ready to be himself again, saying the young QB had a strong week of practice and looks comfortable with the playbook. The coach also hinted that McCarthy's mobility might be the key to changing Minnesota's tempo, especially as a way to keep him upright and healthy. The good news? The offense could be healthier than it's been in months. If Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill are good to go, this will be the first time both starting tackles line up together since early in the year. The only regular still sidelined is center Ryan Kelly, who remains on injured reserve with 2 concussions. That's why expectations are quietly rising. A healthy JJ, 2 solid tackles, and a coach reunited with a QB who already knows his playbook. Everything feels steadier. But in Minnesota, stability never lasts long, right? Fans have learned that the hard way. Drop a comment. Is this move just for depth, or does O'Connell have something bigger up his sleeve? Because knowing how detail-obsessed he is, even a low-key signing like this might reshape the whole quarterback dynamic heading into a brutal divisional showdown. J.J. McCarthy is back, and the timing couldn't be more symbolic, returning on the road against the Lions in a matchup that could define his short-term future. After missing 5 games with an ankle injury, he's finally ready to reclaim command of the offense. And to be honest, expectations couldn't be higher. McCarthy only has 2 full NFL starts and a limited sample of what he can do. He's completed 24 of 41 passes for 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Not eye-popping numbers, but anyone who saw that fourth quarter against the Bears in Week 1 remembers the spark. 3 touchdowns, a comeback win, and a glimpse of what fans hope to see more consistently. What's even more interesting? Lions head coach Dan Campbell couldn't help but respect it. He told reporters that McCarthy's response in that game told him everything he needed to know: confidence, poise, and the ability to bounce back after mistakes. He threw a pick early, then led them to a comeback win. That tells me everything, Campbell said. Getting that kind of praise from a divisional rival means something. It shows that even in limited action, McCarthy has already made an impression. And now, beyond getting back physically, he's carrying the emotional weight of re-energizing a locker room that desperately needs a spark. The Lions plan to ease pressure off him and tailor their scheme to his strengths. And Minnesota needs to do the same. With the offensive line finally close to full strength, J.J. has a real chance to settle in, use his mobility, and let his instincts take over. Fans just want to see growth. Fewer mistakes, more confidence, and that huddle energy that gets everyone believing again. The talent is there. What's missing is rhythm. If his return in Detroit ends with a win, it could be the turning point of the season. But hold up. This matchup comes with extra layers. There's a familiar face on the other side of the line ready to hunt him down, and that subplot alone might steal the show. Stick around. It's about to get personal. This one feels like it was written by fate. J.J. McCarthy will face off against his former Michigan teammate Aiden Hutchinson, now one of the NFL's most relentless pass rushers in Detroit, and Hutchinson didn't hide his excitement about it. "It's going to be fun," he said. "We know each other so well. There'll be laughs, some trash talk, but it's all competition." McCarthy's return just happens to come in the exact game where the guy across from him knows his habits better than anyone, and the stakes couldn't be higher. With Carson Wentz out for the season after left shoulder surgery, the young quarterback now has a clear runway to prove he's the future of this franchise. No safety net, no veteran backup waiting in the wings. Just him, the team, and the moment that could define the next chapter in Minnesota. To be honest, this is his sink or swim moment. ESPN analysts have already said it. McCarthy needs to show what he's made of. The Vikings invested heavily. The fan base is split between hope and frustration, and the schedule ahead is brutal. Detroit, New Orleans, then Green Bay. 3 heavyweight fights in a row, but Hutchinson's presence adds something special. The Lions pass rusher said he'll text JJ before the game just to mess around a bit, but made it clear that once the whistle blows, it's all business. Anyone who's watched Hutchinson knows he doesn't go easy, especially on someone he knows inside and out. What makes it even better is the mutual respect behind the rivalry. Hutchinson praised JJ's talent and competitiveness, recalling their college days and how both dreamed of this stage. It's the kind of matchup that humanizes football. 2 friends who came up together now fighting for their teams in one of the NFL's oldest divisions. Meanwhile, NBC's Mike Florio said Minnesota's out of excuses. It's time to find out what McCarthy really is. If he shines, the Vikings could save their season. If he struggles, the questions will explode. And everyone knows how fast the clock ticks in Minnesota when it comes to quarterbacks. So buckle up. Hutchinson's hungry, McCarthy's got something to prove, and this reunion could end in bruises, touchdowns, and maybe even redemption. Drop your take. Does JJ rise to the moment, or does his old teammate get the last laugh? Because what happens in Detroit might shake up this entire locker room. The truth is, the atmosphere in Minnesota hasn't been great. Even with McCarthy's return and Wolford's arrival, something feels off. And it's not just speculation. Alec Lewis of The Athletic said he sensed tension in the Vikings building since spring. Players, coaches, even staff. The vibe just isn't the same. The team poured over $300 million into contracts and reinforcements, expecting a statement season. Instead, they're sitting at 3-4, with a locker room that feels tight, businesslike, almost joyless compared to past O'Connell squads, and when insiders start using words like tension, that's not a coincidence. To make things worse, the team's injury management is drawing fire. Too many players are coming back too early, suffering setbacks or being rushed through rehab. Christian Darrisaw admitted he returned ahead of schedule. Andrew Van Ginkel's neck injury has lingered since camp, and Carson Wentz played 2.5 games with a fractured socket and torn labrum before the team shut him down. That's wild. Sources told Purple Insider it's become a circus behind the scenes. One said, "This is how you lose a locker room." And honestly, they might be right. Players need to trust the staff to protect them. Once that trust breaks, everything inside starts to crack. The person stuck carrying that emotional weight now is McCarthy. The pressure on him is enormous, not just to perform, but to bring energy back to a worn-down group. O'Connell wanted to protect the kid, but circumstances are forcing him to grow up fast. And to be fair, this tension explains a lot. The missed throws, the flat body language, the confusion on the field. It's not just execution, it's chemistry. If O'Connell can't find a way to reconnect the locker room, the season could slip away. But maybe, just maybe, this is the kind of storm that brings a team together. Sunday against Detroit will show whether this group still believes or if it's already falling apart. Stick around. The next piece of this puzzle might shock you. When even national analysts start doubting you, you know the alarms are blaring. For the first time in the Kevin O'Connell era, the Minnesota Vikings are entering a game seen as the clear underdog, and not just slightly. It's against the Detroit Lions, inside Ford Field, with the home team riding high. Basically, the entire league expects a blowout. For longtime fans, that stings. Under O'Connell, the Vikings rarely get dismissed like this. Since 2022, nearly every game has been close, decided by a single score. But now, the narrative has flipped. The confidence around the league has faded after that ugly loss to the Chargers and all the uncertainty around McCarthy's return. Still, there are 2 ways to look at this. One is pessimism. Assume the team collapses. The other is remembering that Minnesota has made a habit of defying expectations. When no one believes, that's often when they strike. For that to happen, though, McCarthy needs to play loose. The Lions' defense is aggressive and will try to rush him all afternoon. If he keeps his composure, controls the pocket, and improvises when needed, this could turn into a classic. But if the offense repeats last week's chaos, it could unravel fast. There's something poetic about this, though. Every time the Vikings get counted out, they find a way to remind everyone they're still breathing. The problem this time is the roster's banged up, tired, and searching for emotional balance. The margin for error is razor thin, but who knows? Maybe McCarthy's return, the skepticism, and the pressure create the perfect storm for one of those unforgettable Sundays. Drop a comment. Do you think the Vikings have a real shot here, or did the analysts get it right? Because with how this season's going, nothing would shock me. Not even a purple miracle in Detroit. It's wild how this team can turn any week into a roller coaster. A veteran quarterback signing, the starter back in action, a showdown with a familiar rival, locker room drama spilling out, and now the Vikings being treated like long shots. All that in just a few days. But you know what? Minnesota's been through worse and always finds a way to fight back. Maybe this is the point where the group either pulls together or falls apart. I'm still betting on them, because being a Vikings fan means believing when no one else will. Drop your take. This space belongs to everyone in the Purple Faithful. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings. Let's go.